In this video, we're exploring the entire Universal Audio interface product line. Plus, we'll explore the differences between the DSP and native plugins and hopefully help you decide which model is right for you. Hi, I'm Ed from edthorn.com, here to help you make the most out of your home studios. Now, please note Universal Audio have not sponsored this video. I've made this video to dispel confusion regularly seen on social media. To help keep this video as short as possible, I'll be displaying thumbnails with this icon throughout the video to indicate I have another video expanding on the specific subject further. I highly recommend you check out the list of suggested videos in the description below to further your research on these products. All Universal Audio interfaces are class compliant for Mac with drivers available for PC. UA's original and flagship interface line is the Apollo series, which features the onboard DSP they are famous for. The Volts are UA's budget-friendly bus-powered interface without DSP. If you're wondering what DSP is, it stands for Digital Signal Processing, but more on this later. There are currently 7 models of Volt interface available, from the standard version, the single-channel Volt 1, the 2-channel Volt 2 and the 4-channel Volt 4. Stepping up a gear and introducing an industry first, the next 4 models feature a real built-in 100% analog 76 style FET compressor, featuring a fixed ratio of 6:1 and ballistics based on the popular 1176 LN attack and release controls capable of microsecond attack times. This is a fully analog circuit, not a plugin. Remember, the Volts don't host DSP, which would be required to operate a plugin. All of the Volt interfaces feature Vintage Mode, which is a built-in analog op-amp circuit, introducing rich second and third order harmonics to the audio signal, producing an open and forward sound based on the subtle colour of Universal Audio's classic 610 preamps. All Volt models are supplied with a comprehensive software bundle, including the Ableton Lite Live DAW, Melodyne Essential, virtual instrument libraries, and several third-party plugin suites. The 476 and 476p models feature additional outputs, enabling you to route your audio out of your DAW and back in through the Vintage Mode and compressor circuits for analog-style mixing, as demonstrated in this video. Volt is iOS compatible for mobile recording. Simply use the mains power cable included to power the device, which then frees up the USB-C port for tablet and mobile phone connectivity. Volt is also available as a recording bundle with a condenser microphone, a set of headphones and the necessary cabling, providing you with the complete starter home studio and podcast recording setup. The Apollo interfaces range from the Solo, the desktop-based Twin X and X4 models, through the 19-inch rack-mounted X6, X8 and XP, up to the X16 Specialist I/O conversion unit. Each Apollo is supplied with a bundle of Universal Audio plugins. These bundles sometimes vary and promotional offers are often available, so keep your eye on your retailer's website for up-to-date details. By the way, I've placed links to all the interfaces in this video in the description below for your convenience. Purchasing any of your home studio equipment through these links is a great way to support the channel if you found value in this video. So the Apollos, of course, feature higher quality preamps and converters than the Volts, but the fundamental difference between the two lines is the Apollo's onboard DSP. The DSP facilitates Universal Audio's Unison preamp modeling technology. This integrates the preamp hardware with software to physically reconfigure the impedance and gain staging of the onboard preamps to model the sounds of classic studio preamps, channel strips, and guitar amplifiers. This technology is unique to Universal Audio. Now, there is a brand who have tried to replicate this, but they've cut corners and their attempt is quite frankly pretty lame. Obviously they shall remain nameless, but their system incorporates a post-preamp DSP plugin system to alter the sound like a plugin in a DAW. It doesn't physically alter the preamp operation the way Unison does to capture an authentic sound. Unison means you can record vocals with the Manly Vox box, or API Vision channel strips with EQ and compression, or acoustic guitar through a Neve 1073 preamp, a bass guitar through the mighty Ampeg SV TVR bass cab, or electric guitars directly through Fender, Marshall, Engel and Chandler amplifiers, to name but a few. Unison enables you to record processed audio directly into your sessions as if you were recording through real analog hardware. And Unison is a lot cheaper than real analog hardware. This could save you thousands. And if you're wondering how these Unison preamps compare to the real analog hardware, I've got you with this video, and make sure to subscribe because I'll be doing lots more of these comparisons against my 500 series analog gear later this year. Apollos are supplied with Console, which is Universal Audio's powerful I/O routing and monitor mixing software. Up to 4 Q-Sends, alternatively known as headphone mixers, can be independently mixed and processed, including inputs from external digital sources and virtual channels. Now, there are way more features in Console than I have time to talk about in this video, but essentially there's nothing else like it. It's f***ing ace, and if you spend the time learning how Console works, you will never regret purchasing your Apollo. Now, another benefit of the Apollo DSP is the channel monitoring inserts found in Console. Apollo enables you to process your inbound audio with EQ, compression, reverbs, and delays in real time. You can simply monitor with these processors for refined recording comfort, or you can print these effects with your audio in addition to the Unison processing already occurring. This is a really powerful system, again, unlike any other. A list of all the inputs and outputs, numbers of preamps, DSP calls and retail prices of each Apollo model can be seen on screen now. It is worth bearing in mind these devices all have slightly different combinations of XLR, jack and D-Sub-25 connectors, which is worth double checking on the UA website when choosing your model. Expanding your recording and mixing ecosystem is easy with Apollo. Up to 6 devices can be linked together via Thunderbolt with up to 4 Apollo interfaces and 2 satellite DSP cores. Daisy chaining Apollos combines the total number of inputs, outputs and DSP processing cores, all the while communicating amongst themselves about clocking, the distribution of DSP usage and latency calculation. And this all happens automatically. Each Apollo can process up to 8 channels of optical ADAT or a SPDIF inputs, and up to 8 ADAT or a SPDIF outputs on the X4, 6, 8 and XP models. The architecture of this universe is immense. Additional features on each Apollo include high-pass filters, stereo linking, phase switching, pads on the inputs, a built-in talkback microphone, output mute buttons and alt speaker controls. Now, where the Volt has a maximum input level of plus 9 dBu on the preamps, this is pretty standard at this price point. The Apollos boast a significantly higher input level at plus 24 dBu on the X series, which provides a broader dynamic range and a lower floor noise. Purchasing an Apollo also gives you access to UA's proprietary recording system Luna, which genuinely does sound really good, and it features an exceptional quantizing tool, as well as Neve and API analog summing desks for the ultimate analog mixing experience. Before we discuss which model is right for you, we need to talk about plugins. Until recently, only DSP-based UAD2 plugins have been available from Universal Audio. These can be used in 3 formats: Unison-enabled plugins for preamp modeling, monitor processing insert plugins in Console, and for general use mixing in your DAW. These DSP plugins have been and still are operated on the built-in Shark DSP processor chips housed in the interfaces themselves. Note that the Unison and insert plugins only run on the Apollo DSP. These features cannot be operated from your computer. Let me say that again, because there's loads of confusion about this. The Unison preamp modeling plugins and the monitor insert plugins are processed by the built-in DSP on the interface. The interface does all the processing. This doesn't happen and cannot happen on your computer. Now, this is great because it takes the pressure off your computer's CPU workload, but traditionally it also required an Apollo to be connected at all times if using the plugins for mixing. Last year, however, Universal Audio introduced native UADX plugins which operate on your computer. The native plugins enable access to a collection of UADX plugins for everyone to use in their mix sessions for the first time, regardless of whether you own an Apollo. The UA Spark subscription gives you access to a growing number of the most popular UA plugins for $20 or £20 a month. A 14-day trial of this subscription is available for free to anyone, and a 30-day trial is available with the purchase of any Vault interface. UA are currently offering the Teletronics LA2A collection of compressors and the Pure Plate Reverb with all Vault interfaces until the end of January 2023. These are native versions of the plugins for you to keep. No subscription is needed with this offer. Also, Universal Audio, I believe, are offering their 3 months worth of Spark subscription for just 99 cents, continuing into January. So keep an eye on the UA website for that. And as a value-added bonus, if you already own DSP versions of any of the native plugins available, you can redeem a free copy of those corresponding native plugins. So if you own the DSP version of the Pultec plugin, you can apply to UA and get the native version of the Pultec plugin as well. So which model is right for you? The Vaults are amongst the best interfaces in their price bracket at the moment. They really are hard to beat in terms of sound quality. These are great value for money, ideal for home recording and podcasting. I compared the Vault 2 against the hugely popular Focusrite Scarlett. The Vault came out on top in nearly every category, and despite having the same converter chip, the Vault outputs sound better across the board. And if you don't believe me, guess what? The Apollo Solo is a standalone interface, bridging the gap between the Vaults and the rest of the Apollo series, but it doesn't host any of the additional I/O or ADAT connectivity, and it only hosts one DSP chip. Now, in my opinion, this is not enough processing power, and this is where the Solo is fundamentally flawed. Sorry, UA. One chip is enough to operate a handful of Unison plugins and insert plugins, depending on their DSP processing requirements. But for example, the Manley Voxbox uses 46% of a single DSP core, with the Fender Tweed Deluxe guitar cab using 70, and this is in mono mode on one channel. This doesn't leave much DSP for other processing, especially when factoring in the DSP system itself requires a few percent's worth of DSP to manage itself. Now, there are lower usage preamps and channel strips available, so most people will be fine, but it is useful to be aware of. The Solo does, however, have the advantage of being bus powered, which combined with a Spark subscription could be the perfect interface for traveling. Apollo is definitely the professional choice. The preamps, converters and headphone amplifiers are amongst the best in their price ranges, and although there may be better specifically designed converter units, preamps, headphone amplifiers out there, the Apollos have the best combination of all of the above in one place that I've yet to come across, and I've reviewed a lot of interfaces on this channel. Now, the real beauty of Apollo for me is the modular ecosystem that you can create. You can easily evolve from one interface, adding input and output channels, headphone amplifiers, DSP cores, and virtual channels by adding devices as you expand your studio. For example, I have the twin I started out with connected to my X6, both with 2 Unison preamps, linked to my X8P, which is set to swap between 8 Unison-enabled preamps and 8 I/Os to facilitate my hybrid mixing setup with all the lovely 500 analog series gear you can see here. And somewhere behind the desk there is an Octo satellite DSP core for additional mixing DSP. Let me know which model you're interested in and why in the comments. Remember to check out the extensive playlist of additional Vault, Polo, Console, Luna and UA plugin content in the description below. I've been Ed Thorne, it's been emotional.